What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Cigar Show Tim here with another edition of Tobacco Talk, where I review a cigar and then I give you my thoughts on it in 4 key areas: flavor, draw, construction, and burn. It's everything you want to know about that cigar, but it's from my palate's perspective, and then I rate it as to whether I think it's nub-worthy or not. So the cigar for this review comes from Crowned Heads, and you can see it in the title, so I might as well don the cap that correlates with it. There we go. This review is on none other than the Crowned Heads Coroneta in Maduro. There you can see it right there. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Looking forward to checking this one out again. I did have it at PCA when I sat and interviewed John Huber. John, thank you for the hat that you sent out. Greatly appreciate it. And it's one of the Ebbets Fields one. If you don't know Crowned Heads and their hats, then you're missing out because, yeah, John and hats, super creative. Absolutely love what he does and the designs he comes out with. So this is one of the newest releases, from Crowned Head Cigars. It is the Coroneta, and it is in the Maduro blend. There's a Habano and a Maduro. They came from 2 different factories. I will get into the blend and all the information on this one here, the Maduro, where it came from, who blended it, who worked on it, all of that. But if we're going to review it, there's only one thing left to do. Let's light it up. All right, as you can see here, I went with my pretty typical straight cut. When you do the cold draw, you get the darker, richer notes, the dark fruit, get some earthiness, get a little bit of woodiness in there. So let's toast her up. Okay, upon initial light up, deep, rich flavors, earthiness, molasses, dark, rich leather, dark chocolate. The woodiness in the chocolate and the earthiness are the 3 main forefront flavor notes that I'm picking up. There is a little tinge of a slight white pepper in there as well. And now that molasses is coming much more to the forefront. Wonderful. Well, I'm going to jump into the first third. When I come back, I will let you know the blend on the cigar, who makes it, where it's coming from, what the different vitolas that it's offered in, the names of those vitolas, and why there's a unique name behind those vitolas that all ties in with Coroneta and all of that goodness. So here's to the first third. What's going on? 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 All right, let me show you the burn here at the end of the first third. What's going on right here? Mostly straight, little dip right there in it, but overall doing quite well. What's going on? Let's talk about the flavor notes, the blend, all of that stuff with this Coroneta Maduro. And I'm going to read this information that came from a press release. It is all available on my website, tobaccotalkmedia.com, under the news blog area. Please feel free to reach out to that article. Look up that article. I don't know why I said reach out. Look up that article and read that. There are other press releases, different things from a whole bunch of different manufacturers on there, but you can go there for any news updates for what's going on in the industry when you've got the time. So let me pull this up and read it for you as far as the blend on this specific cigar. The Coroneta Maduro features a combination of an Ecuadorian Connecticut binder. Filler tobaccos are from Nicaragua, Pennsylvania, and the Dominican Republic, and the wrapper on it is a dark Mexican San Andres Maduro wrapper. So this and the Habano both come in 3 different vitolas. The one that I am smoking right now for this review is the Earl. It's a 5x52, so Robusto. There is a Duke Vitola, which is a 5.5x54, and then there's a Baron Vitola, which is a 6x56. And the Vitola names, I mentioned that I was going to get into the details of the 3 different Vitola names and all of that. So the Vitola names were derived from various crowns of British heraldry worn by the lower ranks of nobility in the 16th century. The Coroneta bands are adorned with the same strawberry leaf that was featured on those crowns. And then the Maduros, as well as the Habanos, both are packaged in 20-count boxes, and they all have a suggested retail price depending on the Vitolas that they're offered in, from $12.95 for the Earl to $13.95 for the Duke, and the Baron is $14.95 MSRP, and they did all begin shipping back in April after PCA was done for this year. So now you know the blend on it, you know all of that information, but the flavor notes in this first third: deep, rich. The woodiness note is absolutely still there. There's good, strong leather. There's some coffee that came into it now. And there's some earthiness that's in there that's not overpowering by any means. And there's a really nice sort of like sweet molasses, sweet tobacco note in there. I'm pretty sure that's coming from the Mexican San Andres that's in there, and probably a little bit from the Pennsylvania as well. The deeper, richer tones in there probably are definitely from the Pennsylvania tobacco that is in the blend here. Dominican Republic obviously going to lend itself to the earthy notes. The Nicaragua is going to have a little bit of spice that comes in it with a little bit of savory notes. And I am getting a little bit of a white pepper tinge, just a little bit on the tip of my palate, tip of my tongue. It is not anywhere near strong. When you retrohale, it doesn't come through. It's going to sting your sinuses. Nothing like that whatsoever. Now, if you look at the Habano version and the Maduro version, they are each manufactured in two different factories. Now, this Maduro version, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not reading it straight from the press release, but if I'm not mistaken, this is all done with Ernesto Perez Carrillo and the Casa Carrillo factory down there in the Dominican Republic. And that is where a lot of the cigars that John and Crowned Heads has done before, and has, a great relationship with that factory with Ernesto. And so this Maduro blend and all that was worked on with Ernesto Perez Carrillo, with the Casa Carrillo factory, and all of those different things. So now you know the Vitolas, you know the price points, you know the blend, you know all of that information. I'm going to jump into the second, third. Oh, and strength on the cigar right now, I would say it's probably sitting at about a medium minus. Not strong, much more savory sweet than it is strong for sure. And I would say that the body on this is probably a medium body as of right now. If I remember correctly, it does get to a medium to full body towards the end of the cigar. We'll see if this second time around on this cigar is the same case. I don't doubt that it will be the same at all because of the consistency that comes out of the Casa Carrillo factory, but time will tell on that. So I'm going to jump into the second, third. When I come back, I'll let you know flavor profile, strength, all those different things on it, and we'll go from there. Okay, let me show you the burn here at the end of the second, third. You can see here it does have some waviness to it, not perfectly straight, but it's not running, it's not canoeing, it's not doing anything terribly bad at all. Okay, flavor notes in the second, third. They continued to go much more to the fuller bodied, richer flavor notes. There's a little bit of a star anise, a little bit of a black licorice kind of note that I'm not a huge fan of, but fortunately that dark chocolate does mask it quite a bit. The woodiness is still in there, but a nice dark, like bitter espresso coffee note has come through. And so that dark chocolate with the dark bitter espresso, not off-putting bitter, but a bitter espresso and a little bit of that star anise are the main flavor notes that are in this second, third here. There is still just a little bit of a white pepper that is on the tip of my tongue. You retrohale, it's still smooth. You can actually retrohale almost the entire pull of smoke when you take a draw on it without any burning through your sinuses, anything like that at all. So very smooth, very, very nice. Strength-wise, I would say that this is at a good solid medium now. It did come up just a little bit. It's not crazy strong whatsoever. As I'm talking now, and there's quite a bit of saliva in my mouth, the pepper note is upping itself in intensity just a hint more, but nothing to where it's a definite, like, oh my gosh, an overpowering spice coating my palate, nothing like that whatsoever. So in my interview with John Huber at PCA, we sat down, we talked about this one. I actually was, like I mentioned a minute ago, was smoking the Maduro. We talked about the Habano as well. And I asked what it was like going through and doing two different blends at the same time. And he actually provided a lot of clarity, which is, again, in the article that is up on tobaccotalkmedia.com. And his quote that was sent out in the press release says, "The concept of simultaneously introducing one brand in two expressions from two different houses is something entirely a first for them at Crowned Heads. The Habano version, is from NASA, was, I think it's Noxa, that's probably a typo, from Noxa, was actually final and production was ready back in the spring of 2022, but they decided to hold it back. Ultimately, they felt strongly, so the Coroneta brand that then they tapped the godfather of boutique cigars, aka Ernesto Perez Carrillo, to partner with them and develop the Maduro version. And then John says that, quote, "I think the Coroneta brand achieves what we excel at, which is seamlessly blending tradition and history with premium modernity." So that's what the thought behind all of this is they had the Habano version ready to go for, like I just said, since 2022, nearly a couple years, or about a couple years before it was released as both of them together. And then the Habano was done under Raul Disla and it is Noxa. And there's a blend of information in that article on my website that you can read. But the flavor notes in the second third, very, very nice, very savory, very good. That molasses note is still there as well. I didn't mention that a second ago, but that nice, just sort of sweeter molasses note is very, very nice. It actually does offset a little bit of that bitter espresso note that's in there. The earthiness is still there, but it is much more subdued now, and I'm really enjoying the second third. When I had it at PCA, I didn't get a chance to fully pay attention to it. I knew that I enjoyed it, but I didn't get a chance to fully pay attention to it like I am now, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going to jump into the final third. When I come back, I will let you know any changes in the flavor profile, how it transitions, any more information I think you might need to know, and of course, I'll let you know whether I think this is nub-worthy or not. All right, let's wrap up this review. Here's the burn at the end of the cigar here. Whoop, there you go. Pretty much straight burn line, doing very well as it wraps up. Can't complain at all. Okay, strength on this cigar is probably about a medium plus now. If you're newer to cigars, it's going to be probably a little bit on the strong end for you, but I'm going to put it at a medium plus in terms of strength for me. Definitely full-bodied, rich, deep flavors, long finish. The pepper note that was in there as a black pepper in the second third did ramp up. It is a little bit more of a very pronounced black pepper. There's some spice on the palate, across my tongue, a little bit on the cheeks and the back of my throat as well. And when you retrohale, you do get a little bit of that black pepper spice coming through. It's nothing overpowering, but it is definitely there. It is noticeable. Retrohaling the entire draw definitely does provide a decent amount of spice there. So if you're not a fan of a spicy retrohale, I'd recommend just doing a little bit of a retrohale because it does open up the flavors on this quite a bit. So that bitter espresso is there. The sweeter molasses and a little bit of a sweeter tobacco note is in there in this final third. The earthiness is still there. It is an undertone, and the spice is there. The woodiness, the bitter espresso note, that chocolate that was a very pronounced dark chocolate is still there. It is a little more subdued in this final third. I wish it was still up there in the forefront because it would be much more of a dessert-like with the sweeter molasses note and that chocolate combined, but it is still there and noticeable and very savory. Really, really enjoyed this cigar and the journey that it takes you on. It is not a one-note cigar. It's not just simple and basic going through. And in all reality, that's not a surprise. Knowing that this is coming from and was worked on with Ernesto Perez Carrillo, the godfather of cigars, of boutique cigars, as John says in his quote that is in the press release for the Coroneta line that was released. Very, very good. If you can't tell, absolutely this is a noteworthy cigar. I would honestly just go straight to a box for this. I wouldn't do a single stick to check it out. 5-pack, yeah, maybe if you want to just, watch your money and you're on a little bit of a budget constraint, go to a 5-pack. But honestly, this is a full box purchase in my mind, 100%. I'm actually going to be looking at getting a box myself that's going to go and stay in my humidor and enjoy this, which is really interesting because I am much more of a mild plus to medium plus cigar enthusiast when it comes to strength and body and things like that. But this one hits my palate really, really well. So if you enjoy the darker, little more richer cigars that the Crowned Heads puts out, that John at Crowned Heads, has released over the years, whether it's the Mule Kicks or the Four Kicks or any of the different ones that have come out from Crowned Heads in recent years, you're really going to enjoy this one, in my opinion at least. If you've had the Coroneta and the Maduro, then I would love it if you'd put some comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on it. If this sounds like something that you want to check out, put that in the comments as well. I get comments pretty frequently of all of you subscribers or non-subscribers. Hit the subscribe button. Do yourself a favor, by the way. And you're commenting that you're smoking the cigar while you're watching whatever that particular review is on that specific cigar and enjoying it, and those different thoughts, comments, whatever it may be. I'd love it if you'd put those comments down below. Let me know what your experience is like. Definitely nub-worthy, definitely a box-worthy purchase, and at whatever, I think $12 is what it was for this size here. My opinion is you really can't go wrong. So there's the 3 different Vitolas. Pick the one that works out best for you. I do have the Habano in my humidor here, and it is in the largest of the Vitolas, the 6x56. Look for that review coming out in the near future. But go and check out this one, the Coroneta, the Maduro, absolutely delicious. And come back and let me know what you think of it. John, thank you so much again for sitting down at PCA back a couple months ago and talking with me about this line, providing this one for me to check out. Greatly appreciate it. You, Miguel, the entire team, always a pleasure to interact with and talk with. But yeah, go and check it out for yourself. Make up the decision for yourself because, again, it's your palate. This is all coming from my perspective and my palate, but make up the decision for yourself. At the end of the day, as I say every single time, and I truly hope it, enjoy your cigar journey, everybody. I'm Cigar Show Tim. As always, I'll see you.